everybody. Welcome to the Farmer Dale Show. Today I've got a guest, Farmer Jenny.
Hey, y'all.
When I talk about we, this is what I'm talking about. It's we.
We.
We are the we. She just doesn't like to be on camera very much. But hey, today we're talking about farmers market. Our whole business got started by making deliveries, and we were through COVID, we were making deliveries to people's houses, and then we decided to give the farmers market a try. And one of the great things about the farmers market was that we didn't have to spend so much time driving around. So we're going to talk about that too. And we're going to talk about some of the goods and the bads of how it worked for us, but it may not be for you. You kind of have to try different things. Each week we were setting up differently and doing different stuff each week. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff. But I think first off, let's talk about choosing a market. What is the best market for you? And we did one major thing, was location, the closest market to our house, because that was going to be the cheapest thing for us. So we chose Arlington. There were two kind of markets going on in Arlington, but we chose to go with the market that was at S.Y. Wilson in downtown Arlington. What do you think some goods and bads were of the... She doesn't like me saying goods and bads, but it sounds goods and bads.
Advantages
and disadvantages, because she's was an English teacher for 20 years. So,
okay.
So anyway, so what do you think? Was it what was something good about Arlington or being at S.Y. Wilson?
The fact that it was close to our home, so when we loaded up all of the fruits and the vegetables, we didn't have far to drive before we were able to get those out and not be piled up on top of each other. I did not like their time frame. It was not early morning. I believe it started at
noon, I think. Yeah, we were noon to 3 or noon to 4.
And that's just the heat of the day. I don't know if we would have gotten more traffic, more people come and buy from us. But that was really the biggest disadvantage, I thought, of S.Y. Wilson.
Yeah,
they were very nice. They always gave us shade. We had the water behind the fan coming out. The water mist. They were super, super nice and hospitable and very friendly and very easy to work with. So I would think time would be the only disadvantage.
So choosing a market that's right for you based on who you are and what you're trying to sell and your location and price and all that kind of stuff, I think is number one. Where are you going to sell that? That's going to be really, really important. Let's talk a little bit about the display that we had. We basically had an 8-foot table or 6-foot table, and then we had an old card table that we used. And frankly, I kind of thought that we needed more space. We needed more table space, so we tried to decorate it up with a few things. Changed up the setup a little bit. We had some crates and some different things that were baskets.
Lots of baskets.
Right.
We wanted it to be accessible, but also have a nice display that would attract people to come look and see what we had. But we also wanted to make sure they saw everything that we had. So I think
and having some type of sign. This was a table runner that we bought and purchased, and it gave everybody a view of where we were. They could see when they were walking up. They were like, "Hey, that's Farmer Dale there." So it you got to have some type of signage. Something to show who you are to attract those people. And we were at a very small market, so I think it's very easy. But if you're at a bigger market, then your signage is really, really important to draw those people in and let them see where you are. But these things are really cheap. You can buy a full table cover, or you can just buy a runner like this. Those things are pretty cheap.
We also had our price list displayed. We had our social media handles displayed. We had our Venmo QR code displayed. So I think that also, it takes up room, but it makes everything easier. So they're not all trying to ask us questions, and they can just look and get the answers for the most part.
Right. I think having all that stuff displayed, it allows you to have less questions. You want a conversation with your customers, of course, but you want them to be more about your vegetables and the stuff that you're selling, not how much this is or how do I pay, those types of things. Create conversations about what you're growing and how you're growing it and your process of doing that. which is really awesome. We'll get back to customers in just a second. So let's talk about promoting our farmers market and our business. What do you think are some of the best ways that we promoted our business?
Social media, Facebook,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Instagram. He loves making videos, so I think that was probably our biggest way to promote that we were going to be at the farmers market each weekend.
And slowly growing those viewers and getting likes and getting people to follow you on all the social media is a very difficult thing to do. But it is a must that you have to do that. You have to put yourself out there. And one of the things that we started doing probably about halfway through the season, there's several of those resale sites on Facebook or a city Facebook page. The city of Arlington that we live close to has a page. And there's several towns right around us that have those pages. So I started posting videos on there, and that's where we got a lot of viewers from. Got a lot of people started to follow us from just doing that. So, and then other people sharing your post and liking your post. I mean, it's really important to put out good videos, funny videos, or attracting videos, something that's going to draw them in.
Word of mouth, and that's another advantage of going to a farmer's market in your community, because we told everybody at church we were at the farmer's market. We told if we see people in the grocery store, friends or neighbors or whatever, we're going to be at the farmer's market on Saturday. So I think that that's another advantage of when you're choosing your farmer's market, to pick somewhere local, pretty close.
And doing those videos, it was cool getting customers to come up. We'll go ahead and transition into talking about customers, but seeing those customers coming, hey, I saw your video on Facebook, or I saw your video on Instagram. It proved to me that people were watching those videos and they were really trying to see what products we had, because they want to see your products. They want to know what you're bringing to the market that day, and doing it the morning of or the day before, even saying, hey, this is what we're about to have. It drew those people in. Especially when tomato season started, boy, they were all about tomatoes, and they were like, "Oh, I got to come get some tomatoes." So that's the promoting that's really, really important, and continuing doing videos or putting out some pictures or something to continue to promote.
That's why Wilson also, the farmer's market,
right.
You might want to make sure that when you're choosing a farmer's market that they're doing their job to promote the farmer's market as well. Just hours and, what day, what hours.
Right, because you're paying for, if you're going to a farmer's market, you're probably paying some fee to rent that space. And that's why Wilson was great, because they've got their own page for their store. So it was great for them to bounce back and forth on what we were doing, and them liking that. Their customers were able to see us, and it worked really well. So plus all the other vendors, that was really important too. I liked all the other vendors, and I started following all the other vendors that were there. You were able to tag into their customer base, so they got to see that kind of stuff too. So promotion is probably the best in any form or fashion that you can probably do. That is really good. And we did it with no money. I mean, we spent zero money on promotion for the most part, just on social media. So that's pretty awesome. Let's talk about charging prices for your vegetables. How do we go about trying to figure out those prices? Do you even know?
If you took him to the grocery store, he would get lost in the produce department, because he was pricing everything, getting the prices of what we were selling so that we could be competitive with those prices. We felt comfortable increasing those prices a little bit because they were locally and homegrown. So I would think that's pretty much how we based our prices.
Yeah, I think when we started out, we sold very cheap and too cheap, and they kind of got us going and got people buying from us. But last year we were able to up that price a little bit. And what I feel is that you don't want to undersell your product, because if you're growing something that is homegrown and selling it at a market, then you need to make sure that you're getting a fair price for that, because it is a special product that you're putting your hard-earned time or money into that and your hard work into it. So you need to make sure that you're getting what the full value of that product is. So, and I think last year we did a little bit better job in that. But doing your research, the internet is great. You can look at other farmers markets and seeing what they're trying to charge by the pound, by the bushel, whatever it may be. But looking at those things and doing your homework with other farmers market, and maybe going to other farmers market and going and seeing what everybody else is charging. That's probably a good thing. We haven't really done that, but it's probably a good idea for us to do.
We checked out the prices of our competitors at
right,
That's Why Wilson.
Yeah. And you don't, I mean, you want to be comparable. You don't want to be too high, too low on that, but just making sure that you're getting what you think you deserve out of that too, because if it's a good product, people are probably going to pay the money, and we never had a problem with anybody going and saying that's too much, and that was a good thing. So, all right, well, we've talked. I know you can probably hear our dog barking in the background.
He wants us to finish the video.
He probably does. So we're about to run out of time here. We don't want to take up too much time. So looking at this coming year, what are a few things you think we need to keep, and what are some things maybe that we just don't need to worry about?
I don't think that we need to grow all of the 14,000 varieties of squash.
Yeah, we grew we 8-ball squash. It was a hit,
and
but
then
we sold
patty
pans,
pans,
and we're growing a lot of those again this year. So we're not doing the 8-ball, but we are going to do the patty pans again in 2 different varieties, by the way. So you get to see that. So what's something that we probably don't need to do?
Grow or do?
Or grow or do at the market. I mean, I don't know. Is there something we need to change on our setup? What do you think? Anything we need?
Well, like you said, I think we've grown every year. So I think if we continue to do that, we were totally out of space with one table. So I think as far as display goes, we're going to need to figure out how to display more at one time and still it be accessible to the customers and us not be too far away.
Right.
And to keep a steady flow so nobody's waiting.
Right.
So that would be the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, that's one thing is you don't want people waiting. You want to have enough stuff spread out to where, and I think we're going to have to get another table, get more space, and be able to do that. But you also don't want to get caught up in a long conversation, because then what I found, I got caught up talking to people, and then Jenny's doing all the work, and I'm just we're building community, but in the long run, she was doing all the work, and other people were waiting. So having a really good system of being able to move on with that customer and move on to the next customer is really important too. So, well, we're looking forward to the market again this year. We've got some new stuff that we're going to be growing. A lot of the old stuff we're going to be growing, but. Last question. So is it more valuable for the farmer's market or making deliveries or offering both?
I still think we need to offer both, but I think that we found that if we promoted the farmer's market every week, that even the people that wanted things delivered to them, they thought, well, I can come to the farmer's market and see everything you have and just pick it myself. So offer deliveries, but continue with the farmer's market. And I just think that we actually made money for the first time last year. And I think that setting up and being consistent, going to the farmer's market every Saturday for the most part, was part of that success, or the reason for that success.
Right.
So that's just my opinion.
So whatever you decide to do with your farmer's market and your market garden, make sure you have a plan. And this is what we're going to do this year. And it may change in the middle, but be flexible and be willing to do that. But if you're going to commit to something, then you need to go ahead and commit to it and be all in on it. So you can't be kind of wishy-washy on that. So make your decisions. So Farmer Market 2023 coming up. Farmer Jenny's ready.
Yay!
Thank y'all for listening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Follow us on all the Instagram and our Instagram page and TikTok and Facebook. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're trying to grow that. I think we're up to 33 subscribers. I know that doesn't sound much, but hey, we're going to get there. So who's going to get us to 100? That's my goal. We got to get to 100. All righty.
Please do it.
Farmer Dale, out.
Out.